My girlfriend, 27F, of 4 years just told me that she's pregnant. I'm a 29 woman, so it can't be mine. But she swears she didn't cheat. What do I do? I'm still in shock, so bear with me. My life feels like a soap opera right now. Apologies, this will probably be long. Here's some background. My girlfriend Anna and I have been together for 4 years, with intentions of getting engaged sometime this year. To clarify, we are 2 women in a relationship. I am a lesbian, always have been, but Anna is bisexual and has had serious relationships with men in the past. This has never been an issue for us because we love each other and have a healthy and stable relationship. But now, as you can imagine, I'm second-guessing everything. What went down, in the last month, Anna had been complaining about putting on weight, particularly in her stomach area. Anna is thin and athletic, so the little belly she developed is noticeable. She has been going to the gym more, and started eating much healthier than she usually does. We didn't notice any improvements with her weight loss, but I told her that it takes time and that she will eventually lose the weight. Pregnancy never, ever crossed my mind, for obvious reasons. Last week she really started freaking out about her weight gain, so she scheduled a doctor's appointment. She had the appointment yesterday afternoon, and afterwards called me at work and told me that we needed to talk. I could tell she had been crying. I'm freaking out at this point now, thinking that she is terminally ill or something. I start tearing up, asking her to tell me what's wrong, but she insists on meeting at home. I leave work immediately and get home to see her sitting on the couch, her face puffy from crying. I'm shaking and tears are streaming down my face. I ask her about the doctor's appointment and what is going on. She can barely get the words out through her sobs. She tells me that she went to the doctor, and that they told that she is 13 weeks pregnant. I stop crying, but my brain is trying to comprehend what she just told me. All I could say was, "What?" over and over. She is still sobbing, saying she is so confused and she has no idea how this happened. I have never really seen her in a state like that. She seems genuinely upset and confused, but then again, so am I. As I started registering what is going on, I ask, "Did you sleep with someone?" And she only starts crying more, swearing on her life that she didn't sleep with anyone. So I'm like, "But you did. You're pregnant, there is no way that you didn't cheat on me." To which she replies, "I have no fucking clue how this happened, but I swear to God I didn't sleep with anyone. You have to believe me." We go back and forth for 30 minutes or so, both of us still confused. I told her that I needed to think, so I called a friend and spent last night at his house. I've been talking with friends and everyone is confused but agreeing that Anna must have cheated on me. I keep playing over our conversations in my head though, like if she knew that she had slept with a guy and that she could be pregnant, why would she go to the doctor? Why wouldn't she have just gotten an abortion secretly? She could have used a Plan B pill, just in case. Like, she could have gotten away with this. Maybe I'm being foolish here, but it genuinely seemed like she had no idea why she was gaining the weight in her stomach. A couple nights we talked at length about possibilities why she was gaining weight just in that region, and pregnancy never crossed our minds. I'm also playing back the potential date that she could have cheated on me, considering she is 13 weeks along. We live together and have similar work schedules, we both work 9 to 5 jobs, and if I'm thinking of the right week that this could have happened, there is nothing that stands out of the ordinary to me. There weren't any late nights or suspicious activity that would have concerned me. I feel like I'm driving myself crazy, and I feel like I can't trust her. She's been texting me asking if we can talk, and I told her that I need more time. I want to believe that she is telling me the truth, but I can't think of any reason how she could be pregnant without having slept with some guy. But it's all so confusing, given the situation. So, Reddit, what are your thoughts? Does my girlfriend have a case of lesbian immaculate conception, or am I being a fool for doubting that she cheated on me? How do I handle this situation, and how do I talk to her? Everything feels very confusing right now. Thanks in advance for reading. Relevant comments. Commenter, I think you know the right answer here. You don't just magically get pregnant. Yeah, she could have hidden it and secretly gotten an abortion, but she in all likelihood didn't think anything of it until it was too late. Maybe they used a condom and it broke, or he pulled out or something and she was convinced it couldn't be a pregnancy, or just didn't want to believe it. Denial is extremely powerful. Some people will deny till the day they die. But she's in a relationship with you, a woman, and she's pregnant. This isn't one you can deny. Logic says she may as well come clean, but good luck with that. 99.9% chance she cheated. The only other explanation is she was drugged and raped or something, but that's a big leap into the let's find a way to rationalize the shit out of this zone. Good luck with this. My money is on she was unfaithful, as it's the obvious fucking answer. OP, maybe the answer that she cheated is obvious here, but it's also difficult to explain to a bunch of strangers just how upset she was when she told me. I can't expect internet strangers to know the intimacies of our relationship, but I would not be posting here if I didn't think there was a slight chance that she was actually telling me the truth. Update: so, a lot has happened since the original post. Thank you to everyone that responded with helpful comments. It seems like most people came to 3 possible conclusions with Anna's pregnancy. She cheated on me and got pregnant. She was the victim of a drugging scenario and doesn't remember anything. The doctor is wrong. After spending the night at my friend's house and ignoring Anna's calls and texts, I decided to see her the next day to talk. We made a plan to meet at our house after work. I wasn't sure what to expect from our conversation. I thought I might get a confession of her cheating on me, or something along those lines. So, we met at home. She asked me how I was doing, and I told her that I was still pretty confused and upset. She understood. Then I said, I have to know, did you sleep with someone? Or cheat on me? Or come near sperm in any way, shape, or form since we have been together? She swore up and down that she did not. Very sincerely. She said, I know that this is fucking crazy and literally unbelievable, but I swear to God I didn't cheat on you. I am just as confused as you are. I still wasn't entirely convinced, so I asked her about the doctor's visit specifically. She did not get an ultrasound, they only took a urine sample. I guess she told them her symptoms, they took a urine sample, concluded she was pregnant, and sent her on her way. I asked why they gave her a specific gestation period, and she didn't know. I'm not entirely sure why they did, either. Of course, I was like, did you tell the doctor that it's impossible that you're pregnant? That you've been with a woman for the last 4 years? And the doctor gave her grief for it. Essentially implied that she must have slept with a man, because she's pregnant, and that's why she was experiencing her symptoms. I'm not sure if this is a common occurrence for a doctor, but she said he seemed completely unfazed by her claims of not having slept with a man. For those of you that mentioned her period, Anna has an irregular period, sometimes she gets it, and sometimes she doesn't. So there was no cause for alarm when she didn't get her period for 3 months because A, she can't get pregnant and B, more sex for us. I guess the doctor saw the signs of a post-IVI pregnancy test and lack of period and pregnancy was the most reasonable option. After hearing about that, I said that she should schedule another doctor's appointment with a different doctor as soon as possible. She told me that she had, and had the appointment the next day, yesterday. We decided it was best that I go with her to the appointment. The first order of business with the new doctor was the ultrasound. I sat with Anna as they put the gel on her stomach and I was honestly sweating bullets. I kept thinking to myself, what if she is actually pregnant? I thought I was going to pass out, but Anna seemed calm. They confirmed that Anna is not pregnant, but she had a mass on her ovary that was a cause for concern. It was one of the most emotionally confusing moments of my life. Anna and I looked at each other, not sure if we should celebrate the not pregnancy, or cry, or what. Anna still has more appointments, but the new doctor gave her the diagnosis of stage 1 ovarian cancer. This explains the positive pregnancy test, and the bloated stomach. This also explains why she wasn't able to lose the weight in her stomach. The doctor also mentioned that the irregular periods should have been a sign of concern for Anna, as women with irregular periods can be more at risk for ovarian cancer. I'm devastated and hopeful. Anna is still in shock, as she has been through a lot in the past couple of days. I am supporting her the best I can and we are figuring out a game plan. Naturally, we are both terrified of what's to come. This will be a huge part of her life, and my life, and probably put our plans to get engaged/married/have kids on hold, if she can even have kids after all of this. Anna even joked about the fact that she wishes she had actually been pregnant with the Messiah, that way we could keep the kid and not have this horrible diagnosis. So, I guess this is a happy/sad update. Thanks to everyone for reading. Relevant comments. Commenter, I'm so sorry to hear. The first doctor, who was so dismissive of her insistence that she hadn't slept with a man, should probably be scolded for this. OP, when she explained his reaction to me I was livid. Call me an angry man-hating lesbian, but the second doctor was a woman and she was honestly one of the most helpful and supportive doctors I have ever encountered. Alright, moving on to the next story. Brace yourself. BF, 31M, woke me, 34F, up at 2 a.m. to make him dinner. I made him leave instead. I am seriously never dating again. No advice needed, just want to vent. Throw away for the usual reasons. So I became official with this guy a couple of months ago. He was sweet, kind, funny, gorgeous, the usual stuff. Everything was fine, we'd stay at each other's places, have date nights, general relationship stuff. In short, no red flags, a couple beige ones here and there, but everyone has those. Then came the other night. He's currently having to pick up the slack at his job due to multiple people quitting. We decided to spend the weekend at my place, as his roommates can be quite loud, and he needed to concentrate on fixing a system at his job so he can remotely work. Friday is fine, we stay in and in between his working, we do the usual couple stuff. Saturday comes and something has gone wrong and the stress is doubled, so he isn't eating anything I make, which is fine. I simply remind him there are leftovers in the fridge. By 11 p.m. he's still working, so I head to bed. I am then startled awake by him at 2 a.m. shaking me, telling me he's hungry now. Confused, I remind him about the leftovers and turn over to go back to sleep, but he gets grumpy and tells me I need to make him something fresh, now. I'm honestly completely confused and so sleepy while he rattles on about coconut shrimp or something. Still half asleep, I just stare at him as I try to work out what the fuck is happening. I'm guessing my silence pissed him off as he started having a go at me for not doing my duty as his girlfriend. That woke me up fully and I told him to get out of my house. His attitude changed then and he was apologizing, but I just repeated myself and eventually he left the room. I followed him, picked up his stuff, put it into a bag and once again told him to get out. He looked like a deer in headlights. He kept trying to say sorry and hug me, and it was only when I threw his car keys into his arms that he realized I was serious and left. This was Sunday morning, it's now Monday night and I still refuse to speak to him. He's tried calling and texting, but I'm honestly just annoyed and dumbfounded. I know I'll have to speak to him at some point, but I don't want to, he's an idiot. When I do speak to him, I'll update. For now, I'm going to bed. Update, holy sweet Jeebus, that's a lot of notifications. Thank you for your overwhelming support. Glad to know I'm not the only one who thinks this is stupid. Also to the ones who said I should have just done it or agreed with the man-child, thank you, I needed a laugh today. On to the update. He came into my job to talk and explained that his friend saw a video of a woman being woken up to cook for her man and they decided to test it out on their partners as a loyalty test, so my initial judgment of him being an idiot was correct. He was surprised when I broke up with him, but he was calm and accepting, albeit sad. Either way, that's over with. To answer a few concerns, nope, no drugs, just bad judgment. No mental health concerns, yes he's stressed but it's surface stress that'll be fine once his work hires some new people, I'm sure. Honestly? Not my concern anymore. Someone mentioned unconditional love? The relationship was less than 3 months, chill out. Seriously though, thank you for even taking the time to read my sleepy ramblings. I'm gonna buy myself a nice bottle of wine once I've finished work as a thank you to myself for not settling. Until next time. The stories don't stop here. Let's dive into the next one. Title, I met my husband that I divorced 3 years ago. I, 35M, divorced my husband, 36M, 3 years ago. And God, I miss him. I asked for a divorce for a few reasons, most of which being that his depression got exponentially worse day after day and he refused to seek treatment. Sometimes he wouldn't even go into work and ended up getting fired from his job. I stayed with him for so fucking long, praying that one day he would start trying to get better. It was all I ever wanted, but that day didn't come. I sobbed the entire time signing those papers, and when I handed them to him and asked for a divorce, he just gave me the emptiest, deadest look and signed them without a word. My heart felt like it had been shattered with a hammer, anger and sadness and fear tied together in the world's tightest, ugliest knot and inset deep into my chest. I put on a brave face for my friends, tried to frame it as shackles coming off and a new beginning, but it was a lie. It just hurt, and it keeps hurting, and it will never stop hurting. He was my soulmate. I'll never love anyone like I loved him. He used to be so sweet and loving, so passionate and happy and every other wonderful thing a man could want from another. They say each day gets easier, but it isn't for me. It's been 3 years and I'm still reaching over to the other side of the bed in the morning to pull him close, and it always stings when my hands touch fabric and not his skin. It's been 3 years and I'm still expecting to see his car in the driveway when I get home from work. It's been 3 years and my heart isn't any less broken than the day he left. I've been stalking his socials, I'll admit. He's been getting back to the gym, started meds, and I see him smiling so genuinely in these photos. He looks so incredible. Maybe if I had just waited, he would have changed his mind and went to a doctor like he is now? Or was it me that held him down? Was I making it worse? I hope not. I want to go over to his place and just fall into his arms and beg him to take me back. Maybe he's wishing the same thing about me. If there's even a chance I could have my boy back, I feel like I should try. I'll never know otherwise. Edit. 1. I am a homosexual man. My husband is a homosexual man. I am not a woman. Yes, I know I'm effeminate and kind of emotional. Get creative. 2. My husband was a binge drinker. He refused treatment no matter how much I begged. We got antidepressants but he wouldn't take them. I know he's started meds now because he's posted about them and his 2-year sober chip that he got last month. 3. I never stopped loving him. I never loved him any less. Near the end of our marriage, I started drinking to cope. The second I realized he was dragging me down with him, and I couldn't help him anymore. I didn't dip the second it got hard. Many of you are being kind of rude. I'll accept that I wasn't the perfect husband, nobody is. But claims that I never loved him are just wrong and make me feel sick to my stomach. Edit 2. No, I am not the catalyst for this. His depression started when his young brother died terribly and unexpectedly. It's not because he just hated me so much. We were childhood sweethearts and had been together for years when this happened. Relevant comments. Commenter, sometimes, people just cannot progress until they hit rock bottom, and maybe you leaving was that for him. It doesn't necessarily mean you held him down, he just couldn't find the desire and motivation to progress while you were holding him. Don't beat yourself up. It wasn't your fault he was sick and didn't want to ask for help. In the end, we all need to want that help, without it all other people's efforts are worthless. In the end, if you ended amicably, you can always hit him up and ask how he feels. Maybe he'll ignore you, maybe not, but you've tried. And stop stalking him. That is keeping you from healing. OP, thank you, I needed to hear a lot of this. Maybe I'll call him just to see how he's doing. He doesn't hate me, I know that much. I'd like to see him regardless. Commenter, unless he's remarried, no harm in reaching out to say hello and seeing where the land lease. Reopen the channels? See what's what? OP, he's not remarried. He had some photos with this one guy for a while, but I haven't seen any photos with him for a little over a year. I think he's single now. Hope he is. Update, well, with Reddit's advice, I did it. A few days ago, I called my 35M ex-husband, 36M, whom I divorced after 6 years when he refused to seek treatment for his depression. I called him later in the evening. It was the first time we'd spoken since a bit of trouble he'd had while he was still drinking 2.5 years ago. He picked up on the second ring. Our conversation was a little stilted at first, as to be expected, but he said he was really glad to hear from me. We ended up meeting up for coffee yesterday as so many of you suggested. I'll admit, it was kind of hard to see him, but in a good way? He looked so much better than the last time I had seen him, but he looked exactly like the man I married. He had put off a ton of weight, he gained like 75-ish pounds during his struggle with depression, and before some dick says so, I didn't leave him because of his weight gain, he looked way healthier and very put together. I'll just say it, he looked incredibly hot. What made it hard was that I couldn't kiss him hello like I used to. But God, the way his eyes lit up when he saw me, I barely needed to. We got our coffee and sat, and he updated me a little on his life in the last 3 years. What really turned his life around was in part the divorce but more so a DUI, nobody was hurt, he was caught a few blocks from his apartment. He's since gone to rehab and AA, gotten his license back, and had to use a breathalyzer whenever he started his car for a while. He hasn't had a drop of alcohol since and I told him I was so fucking proud of him. He's also started antidepressants, and made a point of telling me that they're not SSRIs, but when I asked what that meant he got embarrassed and told me never mind. Bottom line is that they've been helping him, he's back to being a gym rat, and he's almost completely turned his life around. This was around the point I started tearing up. It just felt so good knowing he was okay. Better than okay, he was good. I also apologized to him for not sticking by him. He cut me off and said I had nothing to apologize for. He was a wreck, and I was being dragged down with him. That also felt good to hear. I apologized for not contacting him much during the last 3 years. That apology, he accepted. He was dating someone for a few months, too. He broke up with him once he tried to get him to drink on New Year's. He seemed dismissive of the guy. Guess it wasn't too serious. We got up and went on a walk after a few hours, and I think we both realized it felt like a first date. I had to stop myself from trying to hold his hand at a few points, I'll admit. We ended up sitting on a bench in a nearby park, and I confessed. I told him I missed him more than anything, how I never stopped loving him, and how if he wanted to, I'd love to try again from the beginning this time. We'd go to couples therapy, keep our heads above the water, and take it slow. He was quiet for a minute before he told me something. He said he was doing better now, but there may be a time where he sunk low again. Depression isn't easily cured, and he was far from cured. He still had bad days, but he said there would be one difference, he promised he would never stop trying to improve. He was never going to give up like he did before, and refused to neglect me like he used to. If I was willing to accept that truth, he was willing to try again. I agreed, and he pulled me into an embrace and snuck a kiss to my temple. You know when it's the first warm day of spring after a cold, harsh winter, and the soft breeze and basking sun hit your skin at the same time? It felt something like that, to the 1000th degree. After a while he walked me back to my car and squeezed my hand goodbye, and the second I got inside I started sobbing like a baby. Happy tears, though. I'm currently sitting in bed, kicking my feet like a teenage girl, texting him back and forth to schedule an actual date. He said he'd plan everything and try his best to make up for the birthdays and anniversaries he missed. He said it would knock my socks off. What a dork. I love being in love. Not gonna lie, this is gonna be a bit hard to explain to my friends and family. Not looking forward to those conversations, but right now I don't care. My man loves me. Thank you to everyone who had kind words to say, and all the people that messaged me with sympathy and advice. I hope we all find happiness and love if we want it. I never would have made the leap if y'all hadn't encouraged me. Best of luck to all of you, and sorry for the overly flowery language. Love, edit. We've scheduled a date for tomorrow evening. I'll let people know how it went 2 days from now in my final, unless something big happens. Update. Edit 2, at his place presently. Shame me not, Reddit. Relevant comments. Commenter, I knew a woman who divorced her husband for the same reasons. They'd had 3 kids, one whom was mentally ill. Married for 25 years. She was tired of covering up for him, dealing with his shit. He was losing clients, etc. So she kicked him to the curb. 3 years later, he'd gotten sober, counseling. They remarried. She loved the person, not the drunk. Commenter, girl, he's telling you his dick still works. Get a clue. OP, I never claimed to be a smart man. Back when he was still courting me, he said he thought I was handsome to my face, and I was just like, "Aw, thanks man." We didn't get together for another year. I don't even know how I got to this point, lol. Commenter, I'm assuming the SSRI comment is about impotence. Many men find it difficult getting aroused while on SSRIs, and many women find it difficult to orgasm. Al-Anon is for people who want and need support with a loved one who is an alcoholic. Alcoholics Anonymous AA is for alcoholics seeking help with sobriety. I would actually recommend you go to Al-Anon and seek support going forward. You having strong boundaries and both being on the same page with his sobriety is important. Him being sober for 2.5 years is important for you both to be able to move forward and try again. He's right that depression is absolutely something that could happen again, but if you both have plans in place to help each other and he has a support network with a therapist, my hope would be that it is an easier, less destructive time. As far as family and friends go, time is truly the only way forward. They are either going to love and support you in your decisions or get re-evaluated being in your lives. Knowing that he's been sober for as long as he has is, to me, the most important and significant factor moving forward. I know I would want you to be happy, and if that's with him and he's sober and taking care of himself, it would be the only information I needed. You would choose him, so I would support that choice. Final update, I won't go over the details of why we split or our reconciliation since I'm sure the average Redditor can click buttons and most likely read. He was the one taking me out, and promised that it would, in his words, knock my socks off, to make up for his neglect of me. He sure as hell delivered. A little backstory, we've been together since we were 15 and 16 respectively, and have never moved out of our hometown. This year would have been our 20th anniversary, of getting together, not marriage. We were dating secretly for about 5 years before our parents caught us one day during summer break. The fallout from finding out their son was gay actually made his parents split. His dad wanted to send him away to conversion therapy. He's seen his father maybe once per year on average, and every time he's incredibly cold towards me. Would never refer to me as his son-in-law, only my husband's pal. I wonder why. Anyway, not what you're here to read. I'll get on with the lore. He picked me up from the house and wouldn't tell me where we were going, but told me to dress warmly. He ended up taking me to the place where we met, a run-down ice skating rink in our town. He used to do hockey, and I spent some time trying to learn figure skating until people started beating me up for it. Both sports would practice at the same time, and I remember barely being able to keep my eyes off him. We went skating. I tried to pull off a few of the moves I remembered. He only had to catch me from falling on my ass once or twice, and I won't complain about an attractive man that I love hooking his arm around my waist, and we spent an hour or so there until our feet hurt. At one point I said that my face was getting cold, so he skated around in front of me and placed his gloved hands on my cheeks to warm me up. I just about burned a hole in the ice from how hard I was blushing, I swear to God. He wasn't done then. We left and went to dinner, specifically the restaurant where we had our first date. It's a cheap hole-in-the-wall place, seeing as we were poor teenagers when we first met. We chatted and ate food that probably took 5 years off our lives. He was an incorrigible flirt, and even held my hand underneath the table like he did all those years ago. I know I said I never stopped loving him, and I stand by that, but I think I somehow fell in love with him 1,000 times over again during that meal. At the end of dinner, he asked if I had energy for one more simple thing, to which I agreed. He took me a while out of town to a dark sky zone park, specifically the one where he proposed to me 10 years ago. He set out a blanket to sit on and another to cuddle under, and we went stargazing all bundled up together. You never know how much you miss the sound of someone's heartbeat until you haven't heard it for so long. We shared a bottle of sparkling grape juice in plastic champagne flutes and dumb, giggly kisses. It felt so similar yet so different. He told me in a moment of quiet that he loved me, and oh, God. It took everything I had not to cry. I barely hesitated before asking if he wanted to change venues. He seemed surprised, but eagerly accepted. I ended up at his place, as some of you may have seen from my edit on my second post yesterday. I wanted to take it slower than this, but it was so hard to. I was so starved of affection and hadn't been intimate with anyone for just about 6 years. I'm gonna keep what happened at his between us, but all I'll say is that his medication was no issue and all of you should be jealous. I woke up in his bed this morning, reached over for him, and pulled him close just like I used to do. I haven't been this happy in a long time. We had a sleepy discussion and decided to get back together, but we're not using the term boyfriends. It just feels weird after all this time. So he's my partner, or my lover. He's mine. Thank you, Reddit. Wouldn't have done it without a little push from the internet. Let's see where all this goes. Let's keep the momentum going. Time for the final story. Title: To foo by texting my date that I might end up marrying him seconds after we ended our date plus 4-year update. This just happened to me. Literally 10 minutes ago. I am dying. I am dead. End me now, oh holy ghost. I thought this only happened in some poorly written rom-coms. The kind where life hardly imitates the real one. I want to bury myself and never come to see the light again. Why me? Oh, why me? 10 painfully long minutes ago, I, exalted by the wonderful date, I went with this handsomely gorgeous man who also happened to be a friend of mine for the last 3 years. Against my apartment door that I had just closed on his beautiful face, I typed these words that will fiercely haunt me now: bitch, I think I'm going to end up marrying this guy. This was meant for my best friend, the only other soul I could muster to express my vulnerable feelings. I sent this deeply poetic text to him instead. Do you think there is a void big enough in this planet to hold all my misery? All the embarrassment? Do you think I can make a pact with the devil to turn back time? I would just need 10 minutes. That'd be really nice. Can I please die now? Literal and metaphorical death is the only relief I might know. I am currently in my library, sprawled across the floor intently staring at the ceiling. Man, I think I'll be here forever. TLDR, I mistakenly texted my date that I might end up marrying him as we just ended our date. Realized too late the text meant for my best friend was sent to him instead. Bitch, I owe you an update. Good news, there's so much staring at the ceiling one can do before pure boredom kicks in and the realization that the desire to scream, fuck fuck fuck, at the top of your lungs will most likely not last for an eternity. Bad news, you guys did me dirty by blasting my still fresh embarrassment on the front page and apparently on a famous Portuguese radio show this morning. Cool. So, on to the meaty love update. Once I realized the text blunder, I quickly texted him that it was not meant for him, with a crying emoji for good measure. Sweet man that he is, he responded immediately to let me know that he doesn't read texts not meant for him. I subsequently asked for permission to die. He said. Please don't. This morning, he texted me about some travel plans we have down the line. Bless this handsome man. The gods are cruel, but not that cruel. This is where I should clarify that the original post was obviously a tad hyperbolic, just like that text, go figure. I slept well last night, and I also laughed. At myself, the blunder, just the ridiculous timing. What also got imprinted on me was that exact moment I wrote and sent that text. The moment he leaned and kissed me goodnight, I looking at him as I closed my apartment door, locking it and at once turning around and heavily sighing and smiling, keys still in hand. 2 weeks ago, he had proposed going on a walk at the park. I had an inkling somehow that after knowing each other for 3 years, he was going to finally, perhaps, become vulnerable and share a few things. I had been in a serious relationship when we met, and, what I know now to be out of respect and my ironclad boundaries, he never made any advances. But I was single now, and at the park, sitting there, together, he looked at me and said he had feelings for me. Long time, 3-year-long feelings. And right there at Prospect Park, on a clear night, under some 35 visible stars, we counted, he kissed me. Last night, it was my turn to be vulnerable, even if accidentally. For once, I think I understand Ted. He was always the guy I wanted to throw my shoe at whenever his ridiculous face showed up on the screen, which was a lot. As for the library, I'm not Jane Austen, but I'm a New Yorker, and the luxury of ample space is not something I recognize. My dream as a child refugee, growing up in deep poverty, was to have a dedicated place for all the books I could buy when I would grow up and have money. Here's a pic of my library nook that I built through vintage thrifting, DIY projects, and patience. The library, this is it, folks. The update. I might prefer this life over any rom-com. Relevant comments. The pick of the library is gone, but OP explains it in a comment. You guys, it's not a literal library. It's a corner of my apartment I've turned into a library nook. Also, for what is worth, this is an embarrassing story that just literally happened to me, but believe me, as a refugee who has suffered through deep poverty from early childhood, I'm well aware of all of the hardships existing out there. Now, let me go back to staring at the ceiling. Commenter, you just ruined my mental picture of you in a dramatic swoon across a plush tapestry on the floor of a dusty Victorian library, cheeks flushed and with the back of your hand across your forehead, muttering things like, "Woe is me," and, "Verily, I am vexed." Commenter, make it into a joke. Bring up that that's what they say in those rom-coms and honestly just make it a laughable experience for both. Example, bitch I think I'm going to end up marrying this guy, says every girl on a rom-com, make it into a quote. I don't know how to explain it but I'm the type of person to turn my fuck up into a joke. OP, I'm probably going to greet him with a chirpy, "Hi, husband," next time I see him. Commenter, you can only refer to him as bitch from here on out? Update, bitch we got married. 3 years after I mistakenly pressed send, texting. This gorgeous specimen of a guy I would marry him seconds after ending our first date, keys still in hand as I struggled to both text and lock the door, and subsequently sprawled across my library wishing for the floor to engulf me, I did end up marrying the man. Damn. What in the world, life. Thought I'd let you guys know since you did help me with your funny comments and shared shameful moments to eventually get myself up that fateful evening, dust myself off, and not commit cringe seppuku. It's been 3 years of pure joy, and he's still as dreamy and kind, you guys. And it was, kids, that's how I met your father after all. See you in the next chapter.